Good morning to all of you. I am Shambhavi Dwivedi from Group 5 going to present a topic cost of service theory, and my other group members will explain other theories of taxation. Firstly, I would like to thank our professor Mr. Weber sir for giving me this opportunity. I learned a lot of new things during making of this presentation. So, starting with my topic, which is cost of service theory, which is one of the theories of taxation. Before discussing the cost of service theory, we have to understand why these theories came into existence. Firstly, we need to answer this question in order to understand the cost of service theory. So, several theories of taxation exist in public economics. Governments at all levels need to raise revenues from a variety of sources to finance public sector expenditures. In a democratic country, the policies of the government should be based on the principle of justice, otherwise, the people will protest against the unjust policies of the government. The taxation policies of the government should be based on justice and equity. How justice can be achieved is a very crucial element of taxation system. A number of theories have been put forward by different economists explaining how justice in taxation can be achieved, among which cost of service theory of taxation is an important theory. Cost of service theory states that the government should tax the citizens according to the cost of services rendered by it. In short, we can say that the cost of services is the basis of taxation according to this theory. Thus, tax is payable as per the cost of public goods enjoyed by the citizens. For example, if if a individual consumes a services of rupees 50, he have to pay a tax of equivalent rupee 50. This means that higher the consumption of services of the government, higher would be the tax, and lesser the consumption of the services, lesser would be the tax. This means that the government is just like a producer of social goods, and taxes are the prices for the same. Now, let's see the practical implication of this theory. If this principle be applied to pension holders, the pension holders will have to pay more amount of taxes than the amount of pension they get to fulfill the administrative expenses for providing such pension. The cost of the services rendered depends very much on the efficiency of the administrator. If the administrator is efficient, the cost would be lower, and if the administrator is inefficient, the cost of the services would be higher. This simply means that the pension holders have to pay more taxes than the amount of pension they get, which is totally an impractical concept. Now, let's discuss the limitations of this theory. There are various shortcomings of this theory, which are firstly, it is difficult to estimate the cost of all the services rendered by the government, for example, defense. Finding out total cost of services rendered by the government is very difficult, and therefore the question of distribution of total cost among citizens is not so easy to solve. Second, this theory is against the basic welfare objective of the government. The government provides various services at the time of emergency or crisis which government may not able to perform if cost is taken as the basis of tax. For example, relief work during time of emergency, free medical and educational facilities, etc. Government may not be able to perform these functions when cost is taken as the basis of tax. Third, this theory is against the definition and characteristics of tax. One of the basic characteristics of tax is it is the compulsory payment and no direct service or benefit is expected from the tax paid. But this this characteristics is not fulfilled by this theory. Fourth, general principle of taxation is justice, which is not fulfilled by this theory because poor because according to this theory, poor have to pay taxes at higher rates than the rich because governments generally spends more on poorer sections for providing them medical or education facilities. Fifth, taxes are levied to redistribute the income and wealth in society in the sense that higher taxes are levied on higher income earners so as to redistribute it to the society, which is again not fulfilled by this theory because in this theory taxes are unequal and uncertain based on the cost of services. Now let's discuss the applicability of this principle. Some economists were of the opinion that if the government charges actual cost of the services rendered from the people, it will satisfy the idea of equity or justice in taxation. The cost of service principle can no doubt be applied to some extent in those cases where the services are rendered out of prices and are a bit easy to determine. For example, postal services, railway services, supply of electricity are some of these examples. The taxes on these services are paid only by those individuals who consume these services, and the amount of tax is equivalent to the consumption of the services, which is according to the cost of service theory. Finally, to conclude this theory, we can say that there are various shortcomings of this theory, but there are few areas in which it is applied, but its application is not possible in today's modern world. There are some different theories of taxation also. Some were successful and some were failed because they were not fitting to the criteria or standard set by general principles of the taxation like elasticity, flexibility, and equality. Another theories of taxation will be explained by my other team members. So, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening me and being there. Thank you once again.